this is the first time we're doing this. This is relatively intimate. As you can see, it's not a really huge group. So we're hoping to really have an honest conversation. Ilir's got a lot of interesting stuff planned, and I'm hopefully going to shut up for the most part here and hand it over to Ilir. If you want to start with, I'd love to hear why you started Slice.
Yeah, let's do it. And beyond the technical support, Matt actually is our leader in marketing. So he's our VP of marketing, leads all of our marketing efforts, doing a great job. Relatively new at Slice, and I think you'll see some very exciting programs and initiatives coming out of our side of things on your behalf. One of those examples is this Shop Talk initiative. This has been a vision of mine for a long time. I actually know a lot of the shop owners that have joined here today. Some are very familiar faces. I've been fortunate enough to spend some time with you at your stores, at your restaurants, whether it's Renee at Frankie's in Miami, Nardo in Michigan. I see Fatmir here of Bajo's in New Jersey and New York, and a number of other folks. And so the goal for me is to find a time and find a space for us to stay very close together, because Slice exists for you all. We've built this company and this platform so that we can level the playing field between what some of the big chains have to offer. And I think what is, from my point of view, the very lonely experience that is running and operating a small pizza shop. For those of you that may not know me, my name is Ilir. I founded the company a few years ago. The main reason why I started the company was because family members and friends wanted me to help them with technology initially. And I have a very important part of my own personal story that influenced why I started the company. My grandfather, my dad, and my uncle, just our overall family, that's them actually in this picture, if you can see it. My grandfather's in the middle. My dad's on the right, my uncle's on the left. They owned a pizza shop in New York City called Charlie's Pizza, and this is a photo taken in 1975. And this was a small pizza shop. They ran it. They worked, in fact, they would open at 10 a.m. and they would stay open until 5 in the morning. The only time they had off was between 5 a.m. and 10 a.m., which was unbelievable. And I still hear a lot of those stories from my dad and my uncle. My grandfather eventually passed. But the other thing that happened is, fast forward to 2004, my uncle here on the left, at that time owned a shop called John Anthony's Pizza in Brooklyn on 39th and 4th Avenue. And one day while operating the store, likely and confirmed, this is due to the pressures and the stress and the just the overall challenges and difficult work that is required day in and day out by really all of you to run a shop. For him, unfortunately, it led to a stroke. So he had a stroke inside the pizza shop, lost his ability to speak, lost the use of the left side of his body. And we as a family just kind of came together, and I wanted to better understand what was happening there. And that's something that is very personal to me, because pretty quickly what I realized is thousands and thousands of small business owners, especially pizza shop owners, really want to take matters in their own hands in terms of being able to provide for families, being able to bring something really unique forward, whether it's a brand or a recipe or a product, want to turn their craft into a business. And what happens is you all end up taking on these business challenges, and you have to kind of figure it all out alone. That's why it's called an independent shop. And at that time, I ran a tech support company, which was a franchise. And I learned all the ins and outs of franchising. And franchise models are actually incredibly powerful. They solve a lot of these problems for their franchisees. And I'll use the example of Domino's. A Domino's franchisee did not have to worry about the same things my uncle did. They actually don't have to worry about the same things you all have to worry about, because Domino's as a platform has figured a lot of those things out for them, and they do a lot of the work for them. Now, the downside, though, is Domino's forces people to be Domino's, and Domino's forces people to sell the Domino's product. And Domino's also has these crazy amounts of fees, franchise fees, royalty fees, marketing fees, so on and so forth. And so finally, learning all of these things and understanding the nuances of the industry, I realized that there's an opportunity to create a third way of operating. You all may not understand all these nuances, but that's part of the reason why I wanted to start having these conversations directly. And the third way that Slice is creating, and that I strongly believe is the best way to both operate and scale and grow and be successful in a pizza shop, is a bit of a hybrid, which is being independent, having your brand, having your product, having your recipe, having the direct connections with your customers, but at the same time, participating in some of the benefits, some of the big advantages that come with being part of Domino's or Papa John's, and that is having access to a technology platform that is best in class, being able to meet the consumer, especially as the consumer experience evolves to digital. Consumers are obviously, as you can tell, moving faster and faster to online experiences, maintaining those relationships. And the most important one is figuring out how we can unlock economies of scale. That means buying power. And in fact, one of the most common questions I've gotten so far, which I'll get to, is when will I, as a pizza shop owner, have access to the sliced goods, which is the boxes and the bags and the plates? These are discounted supplies specifically focused on packaging initially. And so what Slice is really building is this collection of products and services that typically benefit Domino's franchisees. But we want to bring that to all the independents who are very unique, authentic, have varying forms of business models, but don't have to feel like they're in their business alone. So I like to call it in business for yourself, but not by yourself. And the not by yourself part is both in terms of what Slice can bring forward, but I'm hoping that we can unlock a sense of community where you all work together or learn from each other based on best practices or things that are going good for one shop owner. Perhaps another shop owner can benefit and learn from that. So the question for me is, at some point, can Slice nurture a community of shop owners who can communicate on a more frequent basis, connect, learn from each other, and ultimately benefit from each other? The last thing I'll say about why Slice exists and what I strongly believe in is I meet a lot of different owners, and there are times where shop owners will say, well, how am I going to differentiate myself from my competition, which is perhaps another shop in town or another shop that is maybe 5 miles away? And I am a very big data person. I have my own emotional and anecdotal beliefs, but then I also look at data and Slice, through the partnerships we have with over 19,000 shops, we have a ton of data. And what I can see is that shops who are actually more open to working with other shops, especially in their surrounding communities, are almost always more successful than shops who decide that they want to isolate themselves and focus only on their business. And they leave out the opportunities and the learnings and the lessons and the advantages that come with being part of a bigger community. So that would be my other real goal here for the longer term, which is, can we use data to bring forward some of those insights? And at the end of the day, the beauty of having your own business is you can make your own decision. And none of these things that I'm talking about are, in fact, requirements or things that I would say you must do. My job is to bring insights forward. My job is to bring the things that we know and learn, and hopefully help influence the way you think about your business, because ultimately I want to make sure you all succeed. In terms of Slice's model and what is really important to me and our team is exactly what I just shared, which is the success of your shops. Something I learned from my grandfather. He would always just constantly remind me that at the end of the day, what you have to focus on is whether when you are in business or in partnership with another person or another company, ask yourself, are you making that business better? because if you're making that business better, you are creating more opportunity for yourself or your business to be successful in the long term. But if you are hurting the business partner or you're hurting the person that you're doing business with over time, you're going to run out of people to work with. And therefore, you're going down this vicious cycle. And so I tell this story because ultimately what's very important for me isn't really Slice or myself or even some of our near-term initiatives. What's very important is that we make sure that we understand how we can continue to help make you successful, even though in many cases you are all successful regardless of your relationship with Slice, but I think we can help. So I will pause there. That is really the core of what we're trying to accomplish, starting with this conversation.
I think if you don't mind me jumping in, I think it leads to a really specific next question. So what are some of the things that you think independent shop owners, sorry, let me admit someone, that you think independent shop owners need? What are the tools? What are the resources? What are the community events or connections that they need that you think Slice can build or should build?
Yeah. In fact, the thing that I believe the most, but by far, it's not even close, is that it is incredibly important for every small business, especially pizza shops, to start moving their business to digital. Now, that's not me saying give your business away to somebody else. But what causes a lot of struggle and anxiety is when you as an owner, I'll speak for myself. If I, as a business owner, had no visibility and no insights in terms of what was happening with my business, because most of the business practices were completely offline, it would create a lot of tension for me. It would create a lot of anxiety for me because I would not truly understand what is happening underneath the hood. And so I'll use a very practical example. If most of your business is phone-based, because you're answering the phone and that is how customers are ordering, that is fine. That is a very traditional way of operating a pizza shop. However, aside from the personal relationships you have with those customers because they're calling you more often and you know immediately where their address is, aside from that familiar voice and familiar location, you actually have no other relationship with that customer. The moment you hang up the phone, you are now reliant on that customer to call you at some point in the future. And hopefully you've provided them with great service and a great product, and the likelihood that they'll do that is hopefully very high. But it's all based on a belief, and you actually don't know the details of that customer. You don't know what is creating that customer's behavior, and you don't know if somebody else is actually trying to get that customer's attention. You in fact have a pretty distant relationship. And so the most common form of reconnecting with those customers is, at least traditionally, has been take menus, print out 10,000 menus, 25,000 menus, whatever you want to call it, and mail out menus to your neighborhood, typically to those customers where you have those addresses. And now that's a moment in time, let's call it once every 3 months or once every 4 months. You send out menus to all these people, they see it, and I know you all know the moment you send out menus, you get this nice boost of volume. And that happens just like once in a while. Well, that's the nature of the business when it's basically offline. You get these periodic sort of rare moments of opportunities to communicate with customers. Typically that form of communication is physical menus, which takes time and costs a lot of money. And it's not real time, and it's also not necessarily personalized because you just take one menu and you send it to everybody all at once. When you move the business online, when the customer experience migrates to digital, and I will tell you the thing that blew my mind initially, and when I first launched the company, was when I started to listen to Domino's earnings calls, because they're a public company. And all Domino's ever spoke about in their earnings calls to their investors was the rate of the velocity that they were moving customers from offline to digital, because they realized a couple of things. Because of the benefits I just shared of moving customers online, they saw that customers were ordering a lot more food when they were ordering online. Much of it had to do with just the natural behavior of browsing the full menu, but also the online experience had some upsell opportunities. Right before checkout, Domino's knows that you didn't order a beverage, so they will typically promote a beverage at that moment in time, and that increases the number of items that customers order. And so Domino's had these really high average order values for digital customers. They also realized that they can communicate with these customers as often as they needed to. Through push notifications, text messaging, or email, they can not only communicate with them, but they can personalize the communication based on each customer. And that led to a more frequent customer base. So I call this maximizing the value of existing customers. Domino's basically realized that if I take my existing 100 customers and I can move them to digital, my business would thrive. And that is exactly what happened. If you fast forward today, 80%, 8 out of 10 orders for Domino's are digital. Now, second part of this is like, well, does that mean that Domino's doesn't have strong relationships with their customers because they're mostly online? Totally false. In fact, they have stronger relationships with their customers now than they ever did. They know exactly who the customer is. They know exactly how many times they've ordered. They know exactly what they like to order, and they can communicate with them as often as possible. So the question of like, what is the one thing that I truly believe must happen over time is every business, including small businesses, have to figure out how to migrate that customer experience online. And that is where Slice started that's where we started our business. Our number one product is our e-commerce product, our online ordering, and our Slice app products that serve customers with best-in-class online experiences, hopefully to get them to order more food and for them to order more often. So that is, people ask me all the time, if you opened up a pizza shop today, what would you do? I would basically actually not even have a phone number. I would I would encourage every customer to order online through an app or through a website, because that would make my business better in the long term.
What are some of the ways to not force but encourage people to order online? Like, how do you even know if I'm I normally walk in or I normally call, what can I do to transition that person to going to my website?
Yeah. Before I answer that question, I want to say something really important. I understand Slice is in this business. I understand Slice has this product, and I may be coming across as shilling Slice or trying to promote our product. Regardless of which product you use, hopefully Slice has earned the right to be a partner on that side of things. But regardless of what product you use, it is incredibly important that you trust me on this fact, which is a pizza shop that does 80% of their orders online. It is by far a better business than one who does 80% of their orders over the phone. So I want to make sure I make that very clear. I'm not trying to sell a product. I'm trying to bring the data and the insights that I see time and time again, and I want to bring those forward. The other thing that I want to say before I answer your question is, it costs you a lot less money to serve the customer who orders online, because you eliminate this idea of either hearing the wrong order, or I know most of the time you actually heard the order perfectly right. You know exactly what the customer said, but it's your word against the customer. And the customer now, at some point later in the order experience, can say, that's not what I ordered. And now you have to remake the order. Now you have to redeliver the order. That just creates this really inefficient experience. 22% of phone calls, whether you know this or not, 22% of phone calls go unattended. That's either because the customer experiences a busy signal, or 2, you answered the phone and you said, please hold. And when you put them on hold, they hang up. Or 3, nobody answered at all. You just did not answer at all. And so if 22% of calls go unanswered and a large majority of those calls are orders, that means about on a daily basis, a phone-based business is losing, call it around 15 to 20% of their sales, of their possible sales. So I like to tell a lot of people, the bottleneck of a business, of a pizza shop, is in fact not the oven or your staff in terms of making or serving the customer, making the food or serving the customer. It's in fact the phone line. And so these are things that are just really important that I wanted to share. Now, what are the best ways that you can encourage customers to order online? Well, the first and foremost is to have a great online ordering experience. It's really important that you have a best-in-class website with online ordering that's enabled, and it's really important that that experience is high converting. You cannot create friction for the customer and expect them to continue to order online. You have to build a best-in-class product, or at least partner with a company that has a great product. And then 2, once those customers coming through that experience, you have to be able to communicate with them on an ongoing basis to continue to encourage them to reorder from your shop. But ultimately, it's a choice. What I see is a lot of owners who have yet or are perhaps hesitating to make this choice to go all in on digital. They're kind of apprehensive for various, probably valid reasons. One is not trusting the platform they're working with. 2 is that their definition of online orders is third party, whether it's DoorDash, Uber Eats, or Grubhub. I understand that concern. 3 is not wanting to lose that personal connection with the customer. And so there's hesitation, which I think only delays this really important part of how businesses, at least pizza shops, are successful.
It looks like we actually have 2 people's hands raised. I appreciate the politeness. Stephen, if you could unmute, I'm going to butcher the name, I apologize. Scuola, if you have a question, you want to ask it. Hopefully it's relevant to what Ilir was just talking about. And you might be able to unmute yourself. Sorry, still learning the technical side of this.
By the way, I love the fact that some shop owners have us on and they're making pizza in the background. I think I saw Besmir doing that, which is pretty cool.
Let me, as we figure out how to unmute, I'll give it a second.
Now.
Oh.
Yeah, you're unmuted.
Yes, I have a question.
Yeah.
We have been.
Fatlume, you are actually on mute again.
Hello.
Okay, there we go.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, good.
Good.
Good. Just a quick question. I'm a customer of yours. I have 3 patented pizza boxes that I'd love to send you a sample of. I have a chicken box, a pizza box, and then another rectangular box. I invented it during COVID. It keeps the pizza crispier and warmer. I'd love to send you 3 samples if that's possible.
Absolutely. Do me a favor. Take down my email address. It's
Okay.
ILIR.
Hold on one sec.
Sure.
Sure. Okay. ILIR
At slicelife.com.
at slicelife.com. Okay, cool. Thank you.
That's my
Got it.
direct email for everybody listening. If you need anything, just email me. I respond typically very quickly.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Of course. By the way, what's the name of your shop? Where are you located?
Scuola Vecchia Pizza e Vino. We were in Delray for 10 years and now we're in Parkland, Florida.
Awesome.
Cool.
Great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, likewise. Back to you, Fatlume. I think you have to mute. There you go. You're good.
Yeah, I did it. Okay, I have a question because we got the slice like I think almost a year, and the question is like when they order the food, they can choose. They have options to choose chicken or something, but they still like write it down to the meal, like I want to add a chicken. And that it's like kind of problem with us. For that, we didn't like include like to go straight to the kitchen. For that, we use like handwriting. When we do like a slice, we didn't like include to the kitchen to go straight over there so they can have it, because they can make a food like that, and we are like, for chicken we charge them. So it's like that's a problem with us. It's not any other problems, because we have it like a lot of successful since we did a slice, and we have it a lot of customers since then, because we live like in a tourist town, and we need somebody like to deliver the food for us. We cannot do that because we don't have enough people working for that, like delivering the food or something. And Fredericksburg is kind of more like a tourist town, and we needed something like that. And of
Yeah.
course, we're gonna open another shop, and we're gonna get like a slice to that shop too. So we are not like leaving a slice. So
No, I understand.
yeah.
I think what I hear from you is this is actually a common point of feedback that our product team is working on.
Yeah.
And this is when customers leave comments on the order that ask for modifiers. So they will order a plain cheese pizza, but in the comments they will say, please add pepperoni. But a pepperoni pizza costs more money. And so there are two things that that need to be addressed. One is, I think we have to do a better job making sure that menus are more complete online. Okay, so we have to make sure that every product has the right modifier selections, so that customers can choose those instead of having to type it. But two, what I know is that customers sometimes try to circumvent that. So they see the modifier, but they don't choose it because they know it's more expensive. And so they think that if they type it in the comments, that they're going to get that item for free. And so there's a product experience that we're going to be working on, which is making sure that we identify those asks, and our platform, our product experience automatically updates the order. So by the time you see it, you're going to see the more complete order versus seeing the comment, and the order is going to reflect the accurate price based on the modifier. So that's actually something that we're exploring and we'll take on at the right time, but I totally understand the challenge with that.
I see a lot of hands up. I love it. I am going to try to get to everyone. There were a handful of questions that were submitted ahead of time, so I'm going to go through those first, and hopefully some of these answer your questions. But we'll do rapid fire. We'll get through them as quickly as possible. One that we got a lot ahead of time was about our goods. Specifically, someone's in Baltimore, someone else is in Chicago. They've heard about discounted pizza boxes. They want to know when they can expect to have those same deals, and maybe no matter where you live. If you're in Austin, Phoenix, can you speak to that, Ilir?
Yeah, this is a relatively new product for us. Again, it is aligned with what we're trying to build with, which is this all-in platform that helps increase revenue and reduce costs for independent shops, so that you're not in business alone, but you also can tap into the buying power of a much bigger community. And in Slice's case, a community of 19,000 plus shops that operate and perhaps behave very, very similar to you. We launched this product just about a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago, and it's currently live in just a select few markets: Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, Philadelphia, and the Fort Lauderdale/Miami market. And it's really important for me. This is actually a lesson I've learned over time. I think you all will resonate with this. It's really important for me that before we bring this product and experience to more markets, that we learn how to do this really, really well. I actually want us to be the best in the world at this experience. And I'm very grateful for the partnerships we have with shops in the markets where we've started, and the patience that these shop partners have shown with us, because sometimes we do mess up. But I think we have enough scale today to be able to get really great at both bringing the best price possible, the highest quality product possible, and to be able to do that consistently time and time again. Because you're going to depend on this experience on a Friday. If you don't have enough boxes, it's going to be a problem. And so as we get better, I do anticipate expanding this experience pretty quickly to more markets, and whether that's Chicago or Baltimore/DC or Tampa or Denver or Phoenix, it can go on and on. We will certainly be there. But when I was younger, I would be more impatient with these things, and we would launch products. I think for folks who have been with Slice for a long time, you may have experienced products that were sometimes subpar. That's because I was very anxious as a younger founder, wanting to really make an impact really fast, but losing sight of the fact that you all are running a very busy business, and typically, short-staffed, and I cannot create more risk for you. I don't want Slice to create more risk. I want Slice to create value, and we're going to do that when we learn how to do some of these things better than anyone in the world. So I wanted to provide that context. We're not holding this back deliberately, but it was really important for us to make sure that we know how to do this well before we bring it to more markets. And by the way, that will apply to the other products that we bring forward as well.
Speaking of which, there was a lot of questions about the Slice register or Slice POS system. They can kind of be summarized in this. Why should I use it? Do you listen to my feedback? What features can I expect in the future? Can I, email walk-in orders because they ordered on the Slice register type of stuff? Could you just talk about that system and why it makes sense that Slice is building it?
Yeah, and one of my favorite conversations about it was with Nardo at Nardo's Pizza, who joined me on the Slice podcast and shared, there you go, Nardo, and shared some really good feedback about our product and how quickly this product is evolving from an experience standpoint. I'm going to get a little bit philosophical with you all for a second. I want to tell you that my job, and I think Slice's team's job, is to make sure that we somehow live a little bit in the future on your behalf. We have to live a little bit in the future and try and predict where the world is going so that we can build products and services to meet your needs as you continue to scale. One of those things is what is traditionally called a point of sale. I'm here to tell you that the traditional point of sale product is a dying product, and that is a dying experience. More and more customers are starting their experience with you with this thing. This is now the new point of sale, because that is where customers start their journey. By the way, I see Roxanne and Renee. I just want to say hi because they're some of my favorite people. Because the point of sale is moving to this omni-channel experience, the actual physical box inside the store, the job of that box, I'll call it, has changed. It is actually now much more about workflow than it is about a point of sale. It is about making sense of all the different channels, phone, third-party channels, your own in-house online ordering channel, walk-ins. How do you make sense of all these things happening at the same time on a Friday at 6 p.m.? It's chaos. And so I actually think we've probably made a mistake naming this product Register, because it makes people feel like it's another register, like the old school version of Register. The reality is that the Slice product, this POS product, for lack of a better term, is more of an operating system. It's a way to make sense of all your channels at once. And then it's a way to connect the different constituents in your shop, whether it's your employees or the customers and yourself, and having everyone be on the same, I'll call it operating system, although I don't like that word. So I asked the shop owner recently, hey, how would you describe this product, this all-in experience between the app, the online ordering, the goods, and specifically the register, which brings a lot of this together? And what they said to me was, hey, Ilir, this is actually less of a point of sale. It's more of a command center. It's like mission control. And that's what I would describe the Slice register as. It's a bit of a mission control. It's built on the Apple platform. We made that decision deliberately because it is the most sound and dependable platform on the planet. When you build on top of Apple, you can build a product that will simply not, ideally, knock on wood, it will not break. the likelihood that it breaks is lower than any other product. Also, it's incredibly easy to use. You all know how to use an iPad, I would hope. You all know how to use an iPhone. This product is very similar to an iPhone or an iPad. In fact, it is an iPad. And so finally, the last part about this product is that it is a data inhaler. Like, it collects all of the data for you of your shop, of your customers, of the volume you're doing, of the items people are ordering. And once we have that data, Slice can help you make better decisions about your business. One example of those decisions is perhaps how you modify menu prices. I know my uncle, I know my cousins that own shops today. The way they change menu prices is they go to their printer and they say, increase everything by $2. Okay, that's not a very smart way to change prices, because not all items are created equal, and not all items have the same demand from customers. And so using data, you can become incredibly smart about the price of what each item should be, when you should change it, perhaps based on channel. That is just a tiny example of what else you can do as this data becomes more centralized on what we call the owner's app, because the owner's app is an extension of this register product. So I'm really proud of it. By the way, it's still relatively early, but we have our biggest team, our largest engineering team and product team is focused on this product at Slice. And so the rate of improvement is phenomenal. We've got over 50 or 60 people working on this product day in and day and night, using some of the feedback loops from different customers who are kind enough to yell at us when we mess up. And I use that word because I remember Nardo saying, "I'm sorry for yelling at, your partner success manager." And I'm like, no, yell away. Like, that's okay. That's how we're going to get better. I call that a feedback loop. So that's the register product. If you're interested in that and you want to learn more, I think we can follow up with an email that has some information. Finally, this product, we're actually bringing forward the lowest possible payment processing terms, because we can use the scale of our network to negotiate down the rate. So I think the payment processing rate for this product is probably going to be lower than anything you're able to potentially get on your own, because of the volume of processing Slice brings forward, and we can negotiate that down with some of the processors like Adyen or Stripe.
Next question we got more than once was about gift cards. Shops want to give out gift cards and want Slice to do it. Is it on a roadmap, or is it going to happen soon?
That's a good question. I actually don't have an answer to that one. So I will follow up with that one. I'm not here to make things up, although it makes a lot of sense, I think, especially during the holiday season. And I'm pretty sure if it's that important, I'm pretty sure our team has that as top of mind. But I will follow up with an email on that topic.
Another question is, does Slice have any plans to invest in independent pizzerias, or do you prefer being on the other side and just powering?
That is a very good question. What I want to do is, instead of directly investing, which I think would be a bit of a deviation, because I don't want Slice to be in a business of choosing favorites. That's not what we're here to do. What I want to do is, at some point, I want to lower the cost that it takes to both launch and operate a pizza shop. I also want to reduce the amount of time it takes for someone to launch a pizza shop. And so if anyone here is thinking about potentially launching location number 2, 3, or 5, whatever it may be, ideally at some point, not in the too distant future, Slice can help you launch that location within weeks instead of months or years. And instead of spending $500,000 to launch it, we can hopefully cut that cost down by half. Again, the common theme in terms of how we want to do that is using the collective power of all the shops on our platform to negotiate best-in-class prices, but also to attract best-in-class talent. And And I'll give you an example. I'm very transparent about stuff. One of the people I've been spending a lot of time with is the person that built all of the Sweet Green locations around the country. They've built, I think, around 500 or 600 locations for Sweet Green. And I'm learning from this person about how they did this and how are they doing this at such a fast rate. Now, if Papa John's or Domino's or Little Caesars can open locations so quickly and at such a low cost, why shouldn't an independent pizzeria owner have the same opportunity? And again, that is part of the goal, part of the mission that we're trying to sort of unlock through this experience. So it's not a direct answer in terms of whether we invest. By the way, there are some shops that have received a lot of help from Slice potentially, but also we've been much closer partners. And at times you'll see a Slice logo as like a second logo on an awning. I want people to know these are not Slice pizzerias. We don't own them, but in those cases, there's 2 or 3 locations where we actually helped build the location. And these partners were kind enough to partner with us in that fact, and in fact tolerated a bunch of the mistakes that we made along the way as well.
Cool. For the sake of people who patiently have had their hands up, I'm going to go through some of those people. Let's start with Roxanne and Renee. If you want to unmute and ask your question.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. I have reached out to 2 different website designers, and we probably have like $10,000, and our website isn't up and running right. Are you going to have like a division or somebody that, because of Slice, to where they can go right into Slice, or, to where we can build a new website?
Great question. Slice actually today has a website product, but it is I will call it a templated version. Okay, so Slice has a website product that you can opt into, and it is an e-commerce enabled, in fact, probably a best-in-class website when it comes to customer experience, when it comes to conversion rate and retention rate of consumers, your consumers. The thing about our website product today is that it is a bit of a template, meaning it has the same format as every other website that we launch, and you can customize the colors, the font, and you can customize the photos, but everything else stays consistent. And I've been battling with this actually myself, because it goes against, in some ways, it goes against the authenticity and the uniqueness of each shop and how they may want to represent themselves online. On the flip side, on the benefit side, is that this is a product that was built by our team over years, and it is the best performing product on the planet. The analogy I will give you is this, for folks who remember MySpace and now are probably customers of Facebook. When you go on Facebook, they don't let you make many changes. You have your Facebook page, but you have to stay within the guidelines, the format that Facebook created. You cannot change, you cannot move things around. It's locked in. But you can make it yours by changing, again, the photos, you can change the biography, you can change all these things. If you all remember MySpace was a free-for-all. You can change the format, you can change the background, like you just did anything you wanted. And the challenge with that was not every page was actually that successful. It was hard to create a consistent experience for your audience at that time, your friends and whatnot. So think of Slice a little bit more like Facebook, where we've created a very specific website experience that can be customized with a logo, photos, font, and colors. But it is pretty consistent with all other websites for pizza shops that we work with. That's one example of what we can do today. TBD, this is a good question to allow myself some space to think about whether we want to add another layer where we can build a fully customized website, so that Frankie's Pizza, which is the shop that Roxanne and Renee own and operate, so that Frankie's Pizza's unique and authentic brand, which is one of the best brands I've ever seen in terms of independent pizza shops. And for all of you on this call, the street the pizza shop is on is named after their dad, who launched and really created the shop. I think Frankie's deserves a very unique, rich, content-rich website, and I think in that case we should be able to help. So I'll actually come back to you guys pretty quickly to see if we can have someone on our team help you do that. And I in fact don't want to charge you for that.
Well, Ilir, we're at time. If you have to go, that's completely fine. If you can stay for another question.
No, I can stay. Let's do it.
Right. Josh Fishman, you have a question? You just want to unmute yourself?
Yeah, of course. How's it going? My name's Josh. I work at La Familia Katona. I don't think I've met you, but I think I've met everyone else in the slice. Everyone else's slice. All the product team knows I'm pretty critical. I think Carrie said that if Josh, if you ever told me that you had no opinion on something, I would just quit the whole project and give it up. Because thank you for giving me all the opinions. One thing, I have a number of questions, but one major thing is, and I know it's been the elephant in the room for a really long time, is when is Slice going to do something about the menu structure or lack of thereof menu structure? So it supports and integrates with other platforms, because we all know that Slice uses C++ boxes and it doesn't integrate with everybody, and it doesn't have levels of actual menu structures with levels of modifiers and down below. And the second of that, so we actually integrate with every other platform much easier. And my other question is, when are we gonna have access to benchmarking data in order to make better decisions using economies of scale for that?
Yeah, I'll start with the last question first. We're actually about to launch an updated experience on the product that will allow consumers we're basically going to start informing the customers that we will now share all of the information back with the shops, because again, these are your customers. And so that'll actually be an update that'll come up pretty quickly. And then that information will be available to you on the owner's portal or the owner's app. For anyone who doesn't have access to this, speak to your partner success manager, make sure you have access to your owner's app. In terms of the menu structure question, I know that our engineering team is building a whole new, what we call a menu service, which is kind of a rewrite of the menu structure. I don't have a timeline for that, but I will come back to you on that one. It's a great question. When is Slice integrating with Toast? Great question. I was on a call with their CEO yesterday. I'm trying to get to a point where we can have a mutual agreement where we directly integrate. If it's not directly integration, a direct integration, we may partner with one of the third-party players to do more of a third-party integration with Toast. It is one of the higher priority initiatives at Slice to hopefully get that done in the next quarter. Any integrations with future POS? Matt, can we jot down these questions so we can follow up? Because I don't have actually the answers to some of these.
Yeah. Out of Hand Pizza, want to unmute and go next?
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you for convening this forum. I'm pretty sure it must be difficult to talk about your family, especially for the ones you lost and have suffered. We all relate to that to some degree. For you to find encouragement and inspiration and turn it into a successful venture is absolutely amazing. And my question is, will you ever collaborate or integrate with Google Maps to have easy access to delivery locations? Where we would deliver orders with access from mobile device or even from POS at the store.
Yes, so one of the upcoming
I apologize, you mean to interrupt, but gift cards is very important to us, and perhaps it's another stream of income for Slice. And the last thing is, my shop, Out-of-Hand Pizza, is very small but very big to get involved with community, which is the main reason for our success. Will you, and what can you do to collaborate with us to give back to our community where we conduct business? And I'll let you answer. I apologize.
No, don't apologize. That last question actually also came in through the form. I don't have, that's something, I like to think more deeply and more broadly about really important topics like how do we help give back to the community? and how do we help you give back to the community? So that is one of the takeaways from today's conversation will be, okay, what is Slice's position and how do we spend some time to think about how we can empower you to be more giving in your community. Gift cards, I think we spoke about that earlier. That is a product roadmap item that I want to check in with our team in terms of where it stands in the order of priority. And I think the other question is it really about delivery management? Like, was the question really about how do we empower your drivers to do deliveries better, or are you asking if Slice will have our own drivers?
I was hoping to have a more efficient way of having the location pointed out immediately after the order comes in, either in the shop, and you can tell because we have so many deliveries and we have only a few drivers. What we try to do is we try to bunch up in a certain area close by 2-3 deliveries. But if we have a map that kind of gives you a comprehensive of locations where the orders are, we can easily and efficiently plan the route for like 2-3 deliveries to be going at the same route.
Got it. Totally understand. I think actually that product either maybe in beta or soon will be. So this is an experience via Slice Register where when orders come across, the software and the data automatically identifies what is the best batching of orders, but also what is the best route to deliver those orders. One of the things on this topic that I'm actually very excited about, and I think I feel very strongly about, is at some point when we have enough data, I actually want to be able to predict for you with a high degree of accuracy how many orders you will get by hour, which products will most likely be ordered, and you will in fact have a view of you'll have a glimpse of the future of your business, either hours or days in advance. I mean, we will be able to tell you that on Friday between 5:15 and 5:30, 6 cheese pizzas will be ordered. You will know that, and it is very likely that's what will happen, and you'll be prepared, ideally. And then taking that a step further will help identify who the most likely customers are for those orders. Because if you know enough about the past, you can predict the future, and this is what the Register product allows us to do, is learn more and more about the performance and the behavior of your business.
So we're unfortunately out of time. I know that there's more hands. I apologize. Email us back at where we sent this invite from. We'll make sure to follow up via email. We'll be doing this again too. So if you want to save your questions for another time, that works too. This is not the only time to ask these questions and get them answered. I'll give it to Ilir to say any final words, but I appreciate everyone coming and participating.
No, this was great, and I love all the questions. And I do want to follow up with the folks that I've spoken with. I want to get to some of the folks that did not have a chance to ask their question, but I'm actually going to try. Given the success of this conversation, I will definitely bring this back more often. And I think what we'll start seeing is some common questions, and perhaps what I want to see in the future is maybe some shop owners answering some of the questions for other shop owners, because that sometimes, in some cases, you are the best person to help another fellow operator and shop owner. Cool. Thanks, everyone. I'm excited to do this again, but in the future, yeah, come back with more questions, and hopefully now we can start following up with some of the improvements that I shared about. See you guys.